here. Okay. I had someone go back to the time when this was being used. And of course it had already been built. And when I asked them where it came from, they said only the elders knew. And the elders were very, very old, and they were under secrecy. But there was priests that knew how to use this. And there was a woman went back to this lifetime, and they were getting ready for the ceremonies.
I see.
And she said, well, this is a school of astronomy, is what it is.
Oh, definitely.
And I'll explain that when we get back to the other part. But she said on certain times of the year, they would have ceremonies.
On the 8 Celtic festivals, they're all in alignment.
Yeah. Now, where is the north?
The north is, see those last 2 stones there? That's north. The heel stone faces northeast. Okay. That's direct northeast there. That's north.
Because he was a man, but he was saying, tonight we're getting ready, and he said, I will stand at the north. And I guess it would be between the stones.
Yep, there's 2
I
stones
will stand
there.
at the north. My brothers, which means the other priests, will stand at the other directions, the south and the east and the west. And they would do the ritual, and the people, there was a village here. Not right here, but it was near here.
Durrington Walls, just over there.
It was the ordinary people. He said the butcher, the baker.
Yeah.
The ordinary
just over
people.
there.
And when they were going to do these ceremonies, the village would come, and all of them would gather. I don't know if they came in here or not, but they gathered as they did these ceremonies. And when they did the alignment on the certain times of the year, he said this night, he said the whole village will face to the north because that's where he was. At other times of the year, they might face the one who was standing at the south. And the other, depending on what the, I guess the seasons were. Okay, now when that would happen, there's a portal right here. And he says whenever they would do the ceremonies, the portal would open and they could go to another earth. And he said if you watch, sometimes it would be like a black hole would appear in the ground. So that's why I was wondering, where is the center? It was in the exact center of the stones, he said. And it would open, and they could travel to other dimensions and travel into the earth too. So this was what it was used for. But this was a place of peace and goodness and love during that time. Well, as the story went along, they had an invasion, and they called it the Norsemen, who came in, and they were killers. You know, they were expert at killing. If they couldn't kill you in one blow, they were not a good warrior. So anyway, they were invading, and everybody was screaming and running. He came here to try to hold the energy. They had taken the elders away and to hide them in caves, and the other brothers weren't here, so he was here by himself, and he was trying to hold the peace and the calm to calm everybody down. It didn't work. And they came in, and they killed him on the center, on the portal. And they said they didn't do it the fast way, the way they normally do. They did it ritually because they knew his power as a priest. So they killed him slowly on top of where the portal was. We said when that happened, it contaminated the whole place. It turned it from a place of peace, I'm trying to remember, into a place of negativity and war. So it would never be the same again. And that destroyed the positive energy. So after that, they said the people realized many years later that it was no longer what it was supposed to be, and that's when they brought these stones down to destroy the negative energy. They didn't want that to spread to the world.
Which is what I got in a past life regression, that it was dismantled. These ancient sites were not made ruinous, they were dismantled because of things like this. Because one mystery is, by the Dark Ages, people were recording this monument, but the lintels had gone. And how on earth, in the Dark Ages, are they going to remove a lintel? How are they going to do it? So it had to be dismantled.
It wasn't built by man. Well, it was by men who had special knowledge, the survivors of Atlantis, because they knew how to levitate stones and how to mold the rocks. and that was why it goes way back, and I'll be talking about that later, the astronomy. And it was built by the survivors of Atlantis, just like the pyramids were, because they had the knowledge. But I thought it was interesting that there's a portal here. And there are portals in many of these sacred places, but they didn't want to use it after that because of the negativity. It was contaminated. So that's why they had to destroy it after that, to destroy the energy, or the negative energy would have overtaken the world. He said we still have the wars and things from that time period.
And the astronomy here is absolutely spectacular. Because if you see, they're kind of made to have like a small V, aren't they? You see, they almost form a V shape at the top of the great trelliforms. At certain times of the year, sacred to our ancient ancestors, which is the 8 Celtic fire festival dates, yeah? Which our Celtic New Year, held at Stonehenge, begins November 1, when the veil between this world and the next goes thin.
Well, this makes sense. It would be on the seasons, wouldn't it?
Well, they the start of the
summer
season.
solstice, they do.
That's the solstice, where the heel stone is. Yeah, but you see the sun digresses. It goes like this in the sky, doesn't it? So it's high at summer, and it comes down low in the winter, doesn't it? It goes around to its most southerly. But the ancients calculated the in-between bits, which are really hard, which is like November 1, which is what we call Samhain, sacred day of Samhain. But today is celebrated as Halloween, isn't it? That's the start of the Celtic year. Then the sun goes a bit higher to the solstice, which is the winter solstice, yeah? Where it stands still, solstice, stands still. The sun stays in the same place for 6 sacred holy days. Then it moves up, and each Celtic fire festival date, it stands, and this is all aligned to that. So you have February the 1st, for instance.
But they were talking about the 4 directions, so they would have correlated with the 4 seasons.
Yes, slightly off-centered this. It's made to the northeast, southwest. So the north and south is slightly off at Stonehenge. That's the true axis.
Time has changed. The world has moved to world.
Like 5 degrees. It's just like 5 degrees here at Stonehenge.
But I thought maybe they could stand between them, but there's no room there to stand. They would have to stand against the stone.
Stand against between the stones on the outer circle. Yeah. Because the amazing thing at the summer solstice, when the sun rises above the heel-stone, and it's only about that far out now, yeah, it comes through those 2 gaps there, and the only stone it strikes was the altar stone which stood in its path. And the light was said to be quite and it spread its rays. So it looked very fixed southwest axis line. Yeah, north would be there.
Well, the Druids came later, and they would have tried to, have the ceremonies, but they wouldn't have had the power that they had in those days.
Yeah, because it's so many years.
Oh yeah, because when she was doing the regression, it was complete the way it was supposed to be, and it had already been thousands of years by that time.
Yeah, where the Druids came with the Celtic
They
culture.
came later.
They came much later, about 750 BC. This is
I don't think they
2,500.
really realized all of the information, all of the power, but they did do ceremonies. But the first time I'd ever heard of a portal being in the center, which would make sense.
Well, you can get it if you kind of get it at a dance.
I was wondering, is there a way that
you
energy
can.
might still be here?
Well, you can say to a rod, to find anything, show me. It's called information dowsing. So you say, show me the exact centre of Stonehenge.
Yeah. Because if there's any energy left, I think it would still be here.
And then it'll be about here.
Good. That's what we're going to put years knowing now.
See, you're on the outside of the air, then it's not moving.